What's the scuttlebutt on this BaconBit?
I'm floundering to think of it.
Ha ha! Puns.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Hi, listener. We are going to be reviewing the live-action remake, The Little Mermaid. The live-action Little Mermaid remake.
The little live-action remake?
The little live-action remake.
Uh-huh. Yes.
I'd go with that. Mm-hmm. It's no secret that we have been not anticipating.
Yeah, that's
What's
it.
the opposite of anticipating? Dreading?
Disanticipating.
Disanticipating.
I'm pretty sure that's a medieval disease. We've got dysentery, disanticipation. What?
We've been disanticipating. I can't say it.
That's brand new.
Disanticipating this movie, this live-action remake of a beloved...
1989's The Little Mermaid.
Which I love. I believe you love as well.
I love. It's the beginning of the Disney Renaissance.
It is, and rightly so, because it is magical and beautiful and wonderful. But then they decided to, with all their movies, do a live-action remake. Mm-hmm. And once again, they've decided to live-action remake a movie that doesn't have a lot of live action in it.
No.
Meaning there's no way they're going to be able to do this with real fish or real mermaids underwater. Much like Lion King, they have to do CGI. So it is animated, but they're calling it live action because it looks more realistic.
As close as you possibly can.
Right.
And I don't think Melissa McCarthy actually exists. So
No,
she's all CG.
She's all been Disney the whole time. But Kent and I went to go see this movie.
Yeah.
And
we actually took Emily, who's been on the show several times
Emily
before.
joined us as well.
And just know that whatever I say is basically what Emily would say.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. Also, you should know that as we were watching the movie, Kent and I generally don't speak to one another and give
Not
our
at all.
opinions.
Yeah.
We rarely look at each other. Kent doesn't let me make eye contact with him at any time.
Yeah, sometimes you look at me and you'll just think I'm putting out this vibe.
You do.
That I
It radiates.
hate everything.
Yeah, it's only the hate radiation. Yeah, I don't get a lot
I got
of
hate radiation?
There was joy radiation one time, and that's when we were watching Christopher Nolan.
Any Christopher Nolan
No.
or Split?
No. Dang it. What was it? It's the war one. Christopher Nolan's war
Dunkirk.
one. Dunkirk.
Yeah.
My brain kept saying
Which
Tenet,
is
that was
weird
wrong.
to have like a love.
But you were
radiation.
radiating love during that.
Well, it was World War II, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one, we had a buffer between us. Now, while Kent and I don't talk to each other, we will happily whisper in Emily's ear and let her whisper to us. Poor Emily was ping-ponging back and forth between Kent and I, making snide remarks.
I almost got
and witty
jealous. I'm
comments.
like, I bet they said something funny. I want to say something funny too.
I had the same thing. Well, it was more really like when you guys say something, you guys laugh, and I'm like, what'd they say? I want to know what they said.
So I just hope we get the chance to do that here.
I hope so,
You
too.
and I.
Yes,
Yeah.
without the Emily buffer.
Yeah. And Zach's not here right now. He may walk in at any point.
Yes,
but
we
we
invited him.
wanted to do this so that we don't spoil The Little Mermaid.
Because here at the beginning, we're just going to give our spoiler-free thoughts for those of you who haven't seen the live-action Little Mermaid remake. But just know it's basically the same plot as The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Mild spoiler.
Yeah. Just
but we are going to keep some
45
stuff.
minutes longer.
Yeah, is it that much longer?
Uh-huh.
I knew it was longer. I didn't know how much longer.
Yep. Okay, so let me give the synopsis.
Yeah, give the synopsis.
A young mermaid makes a deal with the sea witch to trade her beautiful voice for human legs, so she can discover the world above water and impress a prince. Now, this is directed by Rob Marshall.
Rob Marshall, and he's done
Chicago.
Yes.
That's all we need to
he
say.
did one more I didn't like. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember right
Other
now.
movies that are really mediocre to bad. This stars Halle Bailey.
Halle Bailey. Harry
like-
Bailey? Oh, well, you found me, did you? I'm the Little Mermaid.
It's a King Dragon's house.
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat?
She jumped off the bridge and then became the mermaid.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Harry Bailey, and then
Halle Bailey,
Melissa McCarthy, and Javier
Bardem, Jacob Tremblay, Awkwafina.
A Wonder. Yep. Daveed Diggs as the voice of Sebastian.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a very Disney movie, and we have Lin-Manuel Miranda jumping in to help with either rewrite some of the lyrics or write completely new songs for this one.
Yes, they do make some changes. They add 3 or 4 new songs to it. They do change some plot points.
Yeah.
They do add some things.
45 minutes. And they removed a few things.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
Can I say there's no Les Poissons?
That's it. You could say that because I'm sitting there watching this movie, and I don't know about you. You have many children. But anytime I introduce The Little Mermaid, the classic, the masterpiece, The Little Mermaid, is when that scene came on, and that's Sebastian running for his life.
Yeah.
And it's, 4 minutes long?
Yeah.
But that slays with the kids.
They love it.
Right? And for
The
me,
chef
too.
chasing after the little crab is hilarious.
And I think that is the funniest part of the movie, gone.
Well, because this is not a funny movie.
No.
This is not a comedy. This is a drama.
Yeah. Did you feel that too?
I did.
I mean, obviously, I took you to a critic screening. There was no general audience. And so there wasn't like the laughter, scattered laughter here and there.
Yeah.
Because with critics, unless it's a Marvel movie, you're not going to get that.
No. Although each critic was allowed to bring 2 guests.
Well, 3, actually.
3 guests, which would pack the house normally. This was not a packed house.
No one really wanted to come, I don't think. Which is weird.
That is a little
because
weird.
it's a big deal. It's a big release.
It is a big release.
You think? I don't know.
I thought it was interesting that the theater we went to was not very full at all.
But it was a very, and this is going to sound weird, but now that I think about this word, but a dry movie as far as levity goes.
There's one source of levity, 1.5.
Okay, I'm interested to hear what it, or who it was.
Scuttle and Sebastian.
See, but that's the thing, and we're going to talk about. Should we do this without comparing it to the original?
We can't. We cannot not compare it to the original because it is the original, just with a different filter.
Because in The Little Mermaid, I mean, Ariel, she is charming, charismatic. You root for her character, but then a lot of the comic relief comes with the animal sidekicks.
Yes. As in most Disney movies.
Yes. In this movie, I don't feel like they were able to carry any sort of comedic relief. They tried.
They swung for the fences with Aquafina.
Yeah. Yes. And who plays Scuttle?
Yes.
Yeah. The seabird.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean,
just jumping right into it?
Yeah, just jump right into it, Ken. If you want to give your review first, I will go second.
Obviously, like you said, neither of us were looking forward to this movie. I was kind of looking forward to disliking the movie. And when I do that, I say, man, give it a chance. Imagine this is going to be as good as, for example, Cinderella.
Which we both like. The live action
and
Cinderella.
Totally surprised me.
Yeah.
And so when the movie started, I said, you know what? Maybe she's going to do great. Halle Bailey. And maybe this is going to be amazing looking, even though I've seen several clips and they haven't looked amazing. But that was on my phone. Maybe on the big screen, this will be that kind of experience. And early buzz said, this is a fantastic movie. This is one of the best live action Disney movies, which, is a pretty low bar at the same time.
Right.
But I kind of sat there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to just judge this as it is. And there's a while where I'm like, I can't really find anything that I'm avidly disliking about this movie because it is the story of the Little Mermaid as we know.
Right.
It's a very passable tale, and what they do is they're reciting a lot of what we know, and that's just fine.
Yes.
And so, there was a lot I was actually liking about it. I actually really like Halle Bailey. I think she did a very good job.
Interesting.
There was some choices they made with her character in the middle that I didn't like, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I'm sold. Like, I'm sold on her.
You're sold on Halle Bailey.
Yeah.
On Harry Bailey.
Harry Bailey.
Playing Ariel, the Little
The
Mermaid.
seashells are at Jim's house. But then there's the special effects. And they're better than everyone's kind of expecting. But it still is basically picture just like, obviously people wear those suits and everything, and they do the
motion capture.
The motion capture. But in this one, because it's just their movements and their hair and everything is underwater, really it's just their face.
It is.
It's just their face as a mask put on a CG body. For everyone.
That's kind of what it feels like. And then the fact is they look drier underwater than they ever did above water.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah. And every time they speak, it's with an echo as if they're in a cavern because that's the underwater voice, I suppose. And maybe Aquaman did the same thing.
Yeah, but with no voice bubble, no air bubbles coming out.
No, not at all.
They're sea creatures.
But then there's, some ocean sounds and stuff like that. So I was trying to allow myself to get immersed in this world, but guess what? I just couldn't because it's lifeless under the sea. There is maybe 8 fish altogether. There's a family. This is what it felt like to me. It felt like King Triton and his daughters from the 7 Seas, I guess, because he's a busy dude. They hang out at home a lot, and they just wait for Ariel to come home because it doesn't feel like there's a kingdom. The world created is lackluster, if even there.
I was going to say, there's the underwater empty cavern world, and there's the castle. That's it.
And they do explain, by the way, is this a spoiler of where it takes place? Can I say that?
I think it's maybe managing expectations, that this is not a Dutch, Norse kind of fairy tale.
Yeah, it's not like Prince Eric is in England or anything like that. This is in the Caribbean.
Yes.
Or Caribbean, however you want to say that. And so, it all feels Like, especially when they get to the castle on land. There's a lot of vibrance. It's a very colorful place, not in the castle, but the places they visit.
The village.
But then the ocean, anytime it was like, let's explore the ocean, that was a chance for me to be wowed. And I really think that comes down to, obviously, special effects team. Maybe they didn't have the money. I honestly think that James Cameron got all of his money for Avatar 2. Disney's like, here, make us $2 billion. And he succeeded. In this movie, they didn't really have anything because they just put a gray filter over the ocean and said, here's a coral.
But they do really move that camera around. You're going to get seasick. Some people are going to get seasick watching this movie.
Yeah. And so I'm really trying to label the things that aren't just the story that we know. So I think, yeah, her performance is good, but the world she lives in, totally lifeless. I hated Sebastian.
Okay.
I hated Scuttle, obviously.
Sure.
Javier Bardem was awkwardly placed in the movie. I couldn't buy him for 1 second.
Okay.
And I liked Eric. I thought Eric did a good job. And then they added, of all the extra stuff, they added 3 songs I didn't care for.
3 or 4? I couldn't remember.
It may have been 4. One I tried to block out of my mind completely. There was a song that was absolutely atrocious that, honestly, I was shell-shocked. We sat there. And Joel, you probably were first, but we were like the 3 wise monkeys, where as soon as it's a Scuttle song, as soon as Scuttle starts singing a song, we all kind of just placed our hands, just kind of like covering our faces, like covering our noses.
Kind of all in shock, I think it was. All this kind of, we all had this reaction to it, and it made me laugh because I did it, and then look over and you two are doing it. I'm like, oh no.
It was painful. All that said, this is still The Little Mermaid. You have Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, just trying to, kind of like just trying her best to imitate everything that we saw of Ursula.
Yes. It did feel like an imitation.
Yeah, this
impersonation.
This movie is an impersonation, as we know, as any live-action remake is. That said, will people be mad when they see this movie? Absolutely not.
No.
Is it necessary? Absolutely not.
I know.
So I'm kind of right in the middle, but slightly below average. So this currently, I could get angrier as time goes on.
Right.
It's currently a C- for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
A C- from you.
Yeah.
For the live-action Little Mermaid remake.
Don't talk me into a D+, because I'll do it.
No, do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me...
Because, by the way, and when I write my review, it's going to be under the C. You see what I did there? Anyways, okay, go on.
I like that.
Yeah.
As you know, this was one of my least anticipated movies for the past 2 years. I think I believed I called it a poor, unfortunate, soulless remake.
So good.
And as I approached this movie with folded arms and grouchy face, I was like, this is going to be a miserable experience, and I'm expecting this to be miserable, you know?
Yeah.
Just ready for it.
Totally.
Because we've gone to screenings before, and like Black Adam. I remember when we saw Black Adam, I was sitting there, and by the end, I was like, just end. I was so mad at the movie.
Yeah, you were.
That didn't happen here, Ken.
Okay, good.
As this movie started up, as the music started up, I was like, okay, like you, I was like, you know what? There's some things to enjoy here.
Yeah. How'd you feel about her singing?
Good. She has a good voice.
She has a great voice, but she's a belter.
Yes.
Like, there were times where the song could linger. She's like, I'm going to belt because everyone's going to just talk about my talent for singing rather than maybe acting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did wonder how Jodie Benson, the original voice of Ariel, felt about her additions to the song. Because and maybe it's because I recently saw at a theater here in Utah, I saw The Little Mermaid, the official one where they add a couple new songs.
And it was a cool experience, right?
Oh, it was an amazing experience. Like the way they do the floating mermaids and everything. I was really impressed with the whole production of it. And so that's maybe why I wasn't as on guard for the changes here.
Okay.
But it felt to me a lot like one of those live TV specials where they do the musicals live on stage, and it's like, and Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, Javier Bardem as King Triton.
Oof, yeah.
And those have some allowance because, like, you know what? This is different. This isn't the same medium.
Yeah.
So as I started watching it, I didn't hate this movie.
Good.
I thought I was going to hate it.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. And I think it was Zach who actually said, like, guys, but what if it's not as terrible as we think it would be? And we're both like, it's going to be terrible.
It's going to be awful.
It wasn't awful.
It's lackluster.
I'm totally with you on Halle Bailey. Or Harry Bailey. I'm totally with you on Halle Bailey. She had a cute innocence to her, which I thought fit the part very well. And she has a beautiful voice. Her acting's not the strongest in the world.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in spoilers.
But I do think she fit the part of Ariel. It's kind of like, okay, this is someone else playing Ariel, and I'm forward with that.
Yeah.
There were 3 or 4 new songs, 2 of 3 of which were forgettable.
Yeah.
One was laughable. That was the Scuttle song.
Absolutely.
That was just one of those where I went, okay, and I mentioned this. Oh, hey, Zach.
Hi, Zach.
Zach's here. We're not to the spoiler section, so you're okay. But
we're going to spoil the Little Mermaid soon.
One of the things about the original Little Mermaid is that the music is timeless.
Yeah.
And this one, that song in particular, the Scuttle song,
Immediately dated?
Immediately dated. Like already dated when this aired. I kind of went, oh, I know what this is.
Scuttle gets a song.
Scuttle gets a solo.
Have you ever seen Hamilton?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
Imagine Awkwafina doing the whole score of Hamilton in 2.5 minutes.
It's not Positivity from the stage show?
No. And I was looking for, I've seen the stage show. I enjoy the stage show. Like She's in Love. I love that little number. They don't have anything like that. The 3 or 4, I can't remember if there's 3 or 4. I know
Eric gets a song.
Ariel gets a song when she has no voice.
And like 8 reprises.
That's maybe what it was, the reprises I'm counting. And then Scuttle gets a song.
I'll guarantee Eric's song is better in the stage show.
Yeah, I guarantee that as well.
I've already forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Also, this is random, but there's a handful of jump scares.
Oh, what was that?
Like, I was like,
why
this is such a kid's movie.
Because here's the thing. They're trying to sell us bad CG. With Flounder, Sebastian, and Scuttle. But every time they're on screen...
You say bad CG. I think it's good CG, but just it doesn't... It's like, the uncanny...
Like bad art design?
Well, the uncanny valley where it's like when something gets too close to real, you suddenly kind of go, ooh, that's not right. Like with animated humans in their eyes.
Yeah.
There's something about these realistic-looking animals talking and acting weird that you're
But they just appear like this.
Yes.
And you're like, wait, what?
There's
a kid's movie.
There's 3 or 4 jump scares, and 2 of which got me and Emily. Where we jumped out of our seats.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Apparently, only the mermaids, 1 crab, 1 bird, 1 flounder, and the sea witch can talk.
So
Everyone
what was
else is
that?
Silent.
Why? And that's why I feel like they haven't built a world. Because you have all these turtles or whatever and jellyfish, and they weren't singing.
No, they weren't singing.
Really
they weren't
happening.
talking. Like literally in the part in the undersea when he's like, the lute plays the lute, the harp plays the harp, the bass played the bass, and they sound sharp. And there's
you just want to keep going with that.
Yeah, I would, but
soul.
But the thing about it is, none of the animals are doing what they're saying. It's just turtles flopping around.
The thing that could drop this another half letter grade for me is thinking more about the musical numbers, because I heard they were super fun. But I feel like
they're fun because they're Little Mermaid.
Yeah, they took all of the enjoyment and color out of those musical numbers. Poor Unfortunate Souls just was Melissa McCarthy just camping it up, right, in a very dark cavern.
And I apologize for just scuttling in and
there you go.
pooping on this bacon bit. Remember in The Lion King, there was
the live action.
Live action.
Joel hasn't
air
seen
quotes,
it, but yeah,
live action. Oh, you haven't seen it?
No,
neither have I. Be prepared. So the Be Prepared is like one of the coolest villain songs ever. He just kind of like I'm going to sing song monologue this number. Is it like that?
No,
anything
that
bad?
No, she's definitely like doing her best to do an Ursula impersonation.
Yeah,
and she does fine. She spends a lot of the time upside down, which I didn't quite understand. They kept not revealing her face. I'm like, we know who it is.
Yeah,
I don't know why Disney movies and actually a lot of
I think it was
days,
for style. They did at one point say she and Triton had squiddling rivalry.
Yes, they did. I think
that's golden.
I think Javier Bardem was completely miscast.
Can you say that but again with an accent?
Bardem.
Thank you.
Javier Bardem. But the original King Triton in the animated version had this warmth to him where you see him smile.
Very stern.
He's stern, but he smiles. He talks about his daughter. He loves her.
I like the warmth when he blew up all of her thingamabobs. So warm.
But that's why it seems like you see the warmth in him. So when he does that, you're like, he's doing this out of love. Javier Bardem, I don't think he smiles once this entire movie, and he looks like he's just kind of hollow inside. I did not buy him as King Triton. I did not enjoy him there. I just feel like the live action. The animated movie, excuse me. I feel like the original animated movie says, look how fun and magical we are.
Yeah.
I felt like this movie, the live action remake, was like, look how cool and dramatic we're being.
Yes.
Like they took themselves a little too seriously.
What's the age group for this one? Considering it's a little bit scarier,
a little bit darker, a little bit scarier,
and a lot more serious.
I think this is probably, honestly,
like 9-year-old, 10-year-olds?
Yeah, tweens.
Instead of 6-year-olds?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think some kids are going to be crying in this screening.
Will they be bored? Because this is 2 hours and 15 minutes long.
It didn't feel as long as I thought it was going to.
Okay.
Like I kept being like, okay, is it going to drag? And then I was like, I think I was intrigued by the parts they were adding. And they changed some plot points for no reason. We'll get to that in the spoiler version. I didn't think it was overly long, but longer for a kid, it would feel overly. If I had a kid there,
well, you look at The Little Mermaid being an hour and a half, and they tell a really tight story so much that they may rush some romance in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they still are able to tell a tight story.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like I feel like they're pushing the envelope here with 2 hours 15.
Yeah.
2 hours may be fine.
But I think they relied on Awkwafina too much. I think they relied on Jacob Tremblay too little.
Yeah.
Flounder. But overall, I didn't hate it, and I didn't like it. Like I'm not going to be like
right.
I'm not going to say that this is like
That's where we're at though. Honestly, like saying that you didn't hate it is a positive review for the trajectory of these movies.
I would put this above the live action remake of Aladdin,
which you hate.
I hate that one.
See, I liked that one.
I would put it below Cinderella, live action remake of Cinderella, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
So I'm putting this. Kent, we're going to almost agree here. I put it at 2.5 stars.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Zach, I give a C- on this one.
That seems generous.
Doesn't it seem generous?
He gave it Under the Sea.
Get it?
I just came up with that. Oh, right now, Zach. Jeez, don't listen to the rest of the BaconBit. I came up with it right now.
TM Joel.
I trademarked it. So that's what I have to say. Do you want to get the spoilers now?
Yeah, let's do spoilers.
Okay. Under the spoilers. Under the spoilers.
Look at this spoiler. Isn't it neat?
Oh, so that's Zach, I'm glad you're here.
That number.
Thank you.
That number, by the way, on Part of This World, she did great. I thought it was fine.
Good. I've seen clips.
Yeah.
Every clip I've seen of her, I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
But picture this. Great voice, but it's also the water that dogs drink out of in a bowl that has some of their dog food in it.
Like the floaties.
It's in dog water.
Dog water.
Because the ocean is just horrendous looking.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was that bad.
So here's what's missing here. So Rob Marshall is not a good director.
Just terrible.
This movie needed an auteur because there were scenes, and obviously they don't want to just copy the iconography of The Little Mermaid, right? The splashing on the rock. And
but they could do well to copy it more.
But you could make anything look really great with the kind of money that Disney has, but there were no like poster shots on this one.
Not really.
There were so many scenes that were like, oh, that's a weird profile view, or it's too dark to really even know if that's pretty or not. And I think they just kind of got muddied, much like the water, muddied in any sort of vision, any sort of memorability. It's just not there.
I want you to watch for this, listener, and Zach, when you see it as well. When it comes out on Disney Plus, when it comes out on Disney Plus, give it a watch.
No,
not a problem.
Not happening.
But some things work better in animation than they do in live action.
Go on.
I want you to watch the part. It's right before that part of your roll with the big splash behind her. She's on the rock, and she does this like creepy movement with her hands across the rock.
Do you get itchy when people are rubbing against rocks with their bare skin? Because I do.
I think about it.
Yeah.
I hope that they're the slimy rocks.
But watch for the creepy sliding hands, because I really went, oh, that doesn't work in live action.
I try to watch for the creepy sliding hands as often as possible.
Also, apparently, Scuttle's amphibian now. He's not a seagull. He is a she, and she is an amphibian.
Yeah.
Because the first part, when they do the whole dingle hopper thing, Zach, that's underwater. So Scuttle goes underwater to get some fish.
Oh, is it a Sandy Cheek style bowl on his head?
No, he's literally just sitting there in the water.
Aquaman bubble.
It's a fish bird or a fishing bird.
Yeah,
that dives under the water and then has to go back up. But it's a 3-minute scene.
That hangs out there and just talks to him like no big deal. And I'm like, why didn't you go to the surface?
But you're not concerned with the talking bird. You're concerned with the logistics of oxygen.
I am because my first thought was like, I was like, wow, they're seeing him underwater, but then they kept going underwater, and I went, why wouldn't they just do this scene up on the rock like they do in the movie?
Do you wish the Flotsam and Jetsam had voices?
Yes,
they don't,
and that they were reverends.
Yeah,
they didn't go to seminary for nothing.
That is wow. No, that they don't have the voices. They were so creepy.
No,
they were cool.
They are used and they look good, but they're used very little.
Yeah,
right. And
they don't have the personality. They never give each other a high tail.
Basically, Ursula isn't talking to anyone. She's just monologuing anytime it shows her.
There's so much monologuing in this movie.
Crazy.
To the point where I need to go back and watch the animated one and see if there's that much monologuing. Because Sebastian did it, Ariel did it, Ursula did it the whole time.
Well, it is a way to tell a story that people are going to kind of gloss over and not remember. But in this movie, it's like you're kind of just supposed to think maybe she's gone crazy. That's why she's having these grand plans.
Yeah.
But it's also a pretty lazy way to tell a story in a live action movie.
Well, speaking of grand plans, Ursula's plan, she does the spell, and it's going just like you expect it to, where she doesn't do the body language line, which I was kind of disappointed by. But she's getting going, and she's like, okay.
They have to cut out anything that is derogatory.
I guess.
Yeah.
But then it was like, and then she's like, okay, we're going to do the spell. Okay, this is all cool. By the way, I put something in there where she's going to forget her objective, and now we move on.
I think they were trying to create, length in the movie, but also try to cover up any plot holes. Because why wouldn't Ariel just kiss this prince?
It has to be a true love kiss.
It really is a strange plot hole.
It's not though, because it has to be true love's kiss.
So
they
basically,
both have to be feeling it has to be right.
Because we're in spoilers, Zach. Anytime that Ariel hears the words "you need to kiss him," she'll do this. Huh? What? Because she can't speak. Apparently, except for she can sing in her head.
She added.
She has two songs in her head.
She does. But
I mean, she has
that in the musical.
Yeah, in the musical, it's dumb.
That's why I was prepared a little bit.
But in this one, she just kind of stands there staring, and the soundtrack is playing behind the scenes.
I actually went, "Ooh, Ursula gave her the power of ventriloquism." But she, just for some reason,
Are you
Ursula,
saying you don't have an inner monologue that's a song?
I sing all the time in my head.
All the time.
But Ursula throws in this extra thing in there, like
it's always that.
But by the way, you're going to forget every time you hear about your objective. And then she's up there, and I'm like, well, what does she remember then? Does she remember Ursula? Does she remember home? Like, I've had all these questions, like, what did this spell do? And then, like, even if she didn't have that, I'm going to forget that I'm supposed to kiss Eric. Why wouldn't she do it? There was a moment where she could have done it. And she's like, no.
But it's because they over-explained it there. Okay, let's jump to Eric. So Eric is adopted. He was found at sea 21 years previous.
And he's a merman.
That's where I thought that's where that was going to go.
Yeah.
He's going to be Ursula's kid or something
he's
like that.
He's part of the fold.
But no, they just say that,
Oh, fun fact, it's now canon that men killed Ariel's mom.
Yeah.
That's stated explicitly in this movie.
Wasn't
they
that
killed your
assumed?
mother. It's assumed, but now it's stated.
But it's also funny because Eric's mom who's alive, is also like, we don't trust the ocean. She hates the sea.
She does.
She's like, the sea is eroding our kingdom. We hate it. I was like,
never go out there again, Eric.
Hey,
and also never go on the land.
Hey, lady, just go move where you're landlocked.
No, she's mad. This is like Elemental, but the original Elemental.
The movie that hasn't come out yet?
Yeah, because they're supposed to hate each other, and this is a Romeo and Juliet story. But it's not meant to be about love, even though it is a love story.
Yeah.
Disney's telling us this is not meant to be a love story, more of a personal independent story.
Then when they do Kiss the Girl, because they do the song Kiss the Girl, and they're setting it all up. And keep in mind, the animals don't sing in this movie, except for Sebastian and Scuttle.
The jump scares.
And Flounder. And they decide to do, percussion. They start moving reeds together. And it's like wind, and they make these bugs move their wings. And then he says, or winds, they have birds fly away, and then words, and he starts singing. Which is kind of like the song, except for in like the animated version. But in the animated version, everyone's singing, and it's kind of this nice little thing. In my mind, I went, you know what that's going to sound like to Eric? Like every bug just started freaking out in the jungle.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a crab's by him going...
Oh, except for Scuttle goes, bow chicka wow wow, bow chicka wow wow. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did.
I was like, really?
But then they just hear Scuttle going, bah, bah, bah.
Yeah.
But there's no joke of him, getting shut up by Sebastian.
Yeah.
And they do change one line in the song. Instead of saying, there's one way to ask her, they said
use your
like,
words, just ask her.
Use your words, just ask her. Which I was just like, really?
That's better.
It's not better.
It's better.
It's not better.
It's a little weird.
It's not a little weird. It's not. They're not saying it's the only way. They're saying, hey, there's one way.
Song's a little weird.
Yeah, it's not a weird. It's romantic. It's romantic and it's lovely, and I love it.
I'm so glad I'm not dating Joel.
Me too. And then once again, we're in spoiler territory.
Yeah.
But they have a literal roll credits moment when he's like, "That's my Little Mermaid."
Twice. They do it twice in the movie.
Little statue, and made me laugh. But anyway, they do. I didn't think they'd have the guts to do it, but they did have the guts to stab Ursula in the guts.
So that's really all I wanted to know.
So they make her giant, and it's horrible.
No. It's not horrible.
It's horrible.
Really
looking.
dark.
On a scale from 1 to
Dormammu.
Ralph
From 1
breaks
to
the
Dormammu.
It is not Scorpion King.
It's near Scorpion King levels.
No.
Yeah.
It's much darker than that. You can't see the details.
Ralph breaks the internet. The big tower of Ralph's.
It's around there. It's around there.
Somewhere in that neighborhood?
Yeah.
You forget
she has
that
like
movie
these gills on the
it's
side of
not
her
good.
face. It's
See,
weird.
that's what I didn't care for is like any scenes that are pivotal to or could create more emotion, like that one. It could be longer.
Yeah.
But then they rushed so much just to get to extra story bits.
Yeah.
The one thing
they
go
swapped
ahead.
it though.
Yeah.
Because it's not Eric who drives the boat. It is Ariel. And so she's the one that kills him. Meanwhile,
Eric's helpless on the rock.
I don't know what he was doing. And there's no contract. There's no contract they try to break. It's all just kind of verbal at that point. She uses a scale in her blood.
Yeah. The one thing I did like that they added was the day where they spend time together before Kiss the Girl. because that was like an added layer. She's always wanted to dance, so they allow her to dance, right?
Right.
They get to flirt a little bit, go to the shops, and I'm like, this is better.
Oh, she seemed really happy to almost kill people. Like she was not afraid of anything. Ariel wasn't. She's right. She's
true.
riding the horse through the thing, and it's like people. She just rides through, but then she sees goats. She's like, slow down.
Yeah.
I did like that as well. I feel like that established that relationship because before, when it was like, I didn't get the idea that she had a crush on him. Like
I got the idea she couldn't understand words.
Yeah.
Not only could she not speak, but she couldn't understand anything.
Yeah. It was a little confusing at first. But yeah. Like at the part of the animated thing where she's looking at him on the boat and she's like, oh, he's so dreamy and that whole thing. You don't get any of that.
None of that.
There's no real motivation for her or no backs. You don't feel like they love each other. But then when they get up there and form that relationship, that felt genuine to me.
You know what I was sad about though? A part they rush? Is it Vanessa?
Yes, the evil. Yeah, the evil.
Ursula becomes, brunette Ariel, basically.
Yeah. Although
in the movie?
Totally different girl.
Yeah. I loved the girl who played Vanessa.
I'm sure you did.
She was great, and she's in the movie for 90 seconds. She was actually showing more emotion than everyone in the movie combined. Yeah. And I was like, chew the scenery more. I wanted to see her as the villain more than I wanted to see Ursula.
That actually was actually really fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy that as well.
And because I want a villain that's not just reading a cue card, because Melissa McCarthy did feel that way to me.
Oh, well, I didn't think she was reading a cue card. I think she was reciting it, or Little Mermaid from memory, because she watched it so many times.
Yeah, that's true.
But overall, like I said, I didn't hate it.
Is there anything we're missing as far as spoilers go? Other than the ocean feeling lifeless. Once again.
No. I mean, we really kind of talked about the swapping of who did what, the added musical numbers.
So I get my big question is, what are they doing with the additional runtime?
Oh,
I mean, the added musical
songs,
numbers.
lots of sea shots.
You talked about the
in the castle. It's
date.
Eric talking to his mom, and his mom says, "Stop chasing the mysterious girl." And so he keeps trying to plan to go to the ocean. It's a lot of Eric on land stuff that's added, and it's just kind of unnecessary until they go on their date.
Yeah,
I feel.
Yeah, and I did ask Emily, as I said, look, as a female, Prince Eric. One of the best looking princes in animation.
Yeah.
Did this coming to life of him meet your expectations? And she said, well, first of all, Eric's not my favorite. It's Prince Philip. And I was like, oh,
it makes sense.
But then she said, yeah, you know what? He's fine. He's not super dreamy. And I said, like a John Hamm. She's like, yeah, not like a John Hamm, but he's attractive and he's nice. Like he seems like an attractive person inside and out.
And it's a good character.
Eric is?
Yeah, I thought it was a good character.
He was
At least he did a fine job.
I didn't like him as much as... I preferred Halle Bailey more than Eric.
Okay.
So, but he did fine.
Yeah.
He did fine.
Yeah. And the movie is a little bit less than fine for me. But honestly, that's the best you can get at this point. Yeah. Way better than Pinocchio. Come on.
I still haven't seen that one either.
Mercy.
I've been actively avoiding a lot of these live action remakes.
Yeah.
So, but there you go.
So this is a Disney Plus movie?
Yeah, I wouldn't say you need to go see this in theaters.
Don't sign up for Disney Plus to see it, but if you have it already, then it's worth it.
Yeah, this is one you should actively avoid, but it's also not one you need to rush to theaters to see. I still kind of hope it bombs, only because Disney needs to stop with the live action remakes.
Yeah,
they
they'll
keep
never
making money, and it's just going to keep doing them.
All right.
Yeah. There you go. There's our review of the live action remake of The Little Mermaid. Let us know what you thought in the comments on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Let us know if you think that this was a poor, unfortunate, soulless remake or just under the sea. Oh, you found me, did you? Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat?